Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Workbench. This is Mr. Breeze here. And, last weekend, my local Hobbytown USA sponsored a trail ride at one of our local parks. And it was awesome and really enjoyed it. But the only issue is I broke my truck halfway through the trail run. The front axle decided to break on me again for the second time. And so anyway, I'm waiting on parts for that. I should get them in a couple days. I've decided to upgrade the front axle shafts to the CVA style, which should eliminate the breakages that I've been having, since I broke it twice now. Anyway, so while I'm waiting on those parts, I went ahead and took the interior out and decided to do a couple upgrades to it. See, well, let's take a look, see what I did here. As you can see, one of the things I did to my interior is I decided to make a seat cover for it. And I used so what I did was, I've been wanting to do this ever since I got the interior set. When I first did it, I was kind of in a hurry and I just painted the interior. It came out nice, but it was, pretty plain. Tan interior, tan floor, tan seats, brown trim and dash. As you can see, it come out nice. But I wanted to do something a little extra special, and I just didn't have the time to do it at that point. So what I did was, there's a guy, his channel is called RC Everyday, and I'm a big fan. I've been watching it for several years. And he just does fabric seat covers, and he uses a material from a real seat cover and makes his RC seat covers out of it. But what I did was, I went to Hobby Lobby, and I found some of this Southwest style printed fabric, and I bought it. Of course, I had to buy a whole yard of it. So actually what's nice about that is I'll have plenty of it for a long time, as you can see. So I bought a whole yard. So anyway, what I did was I took the interior apart to just the floor pan. And what I did was I put masking tape over most of the floor. I didn't want to get the glue all over it. And then what I did was I sprayed 3M77 on the truck seat. And I cut the material out about how much I needed and a little extra. And I waited for the glue to tack up a little bit. Took a few minutes. And I started pressing it in place. Pressing it. And when I got to the bottom of the seat covered, I actually took a tool, one of my wrenches, and tucked it into the back as much as I could, and then I rolled that over. And what I did was I kept pulling it and tucking it and pulling it. And on the back, as you can see, you don't get to see much of the back when it's inside the truck. So I left the extra, I trimmed off some, but I left the extra. As you can see, I folded it and tucked it in place. And what I ended up with is, I centered the pattern with the middle of the seat. And it just came out fantastic. I'm real happy with it. Turned out awesome. And another thing I did was I took a single edge razor blade and I trimmed, see, I did a little excess here, and then I was able to trim it off at the bottom of the seat and trim it around the shifter. And then of course, I taped over most of the floor. So it turned out really nice. And there's another thing, I want to show you something else I did. I've been wanting to do this for a while. As you can see, I installed a 3D printed CB radio, or two-way radio of any sort. It doesn't have to be specifically a CB. It just has a basic radio look to it. It has a microphone, as you can see, and it also has a coiled microphone cord. And it's pretty awesome. I got this from, here, let me show you let me show you another one of these. These are very cool. And I'll show you who, let me give me a couple stickers. This is the guy who made these. This is a local guy. T-Pops RC Shop, Scale Parts. Now, I don't know how prolific this guy is, or any other the other products he might put out. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, here's the little radio, 3D printed radio. He looks like he painted the knobs and little speaker grills on the bottom, and there's the microphone with the button, push to talk button, and a little cord. And nicely done. He was selling these at the trail meet, and I ended up buying 4 of them from him, so I'll have some for future projects down the road. Very cool. Awesome, really like that. Interesting fact, I was a radio communications operator in the U.S. Navy, and that's what I did while I was in the service. And I also have a ham radio license, and I've also done CB radio as well, so very cool if you ask me. I really like it. But what's neat about these is when in real life, when drivers are off-roading on a trail as a group, drivers like to use radios CB to communicate with each other car to car on the trail. And usually CB radio, 2-meter ham, or what's the other one called? GMRS radios are popular for car-to-car communications among off-roading. So it's actually quite appropriate to have one of these radios inside the vehicle. Anyway, something else I did was my driver figure. He's the Tamiya Bruiser driver figure. You know, 1 million people have used the same driver figure in their rigs. When I first painted him, now I'm not great at painting figures, but he turned out reasonably well. And one of the things I did was I was not happy with the paint, the color paint that I used on his face and hands. I was not happy with the flesh tone. I didn't have a real flesh tone paint. I just had to use some tan. And he kind of looked like a corpse riding in there. So anyway, I was able to get a little bit better color for his flesh tone on his face and hands. And I ended up repainting his eyes. His eyes look a lot better. They have a much better gaze. So, yeah, he looks a lot better as well. And, well, I just wanted to show you all that before I put this interior back in the truck. So that way you can get a nice view of it. Anyway, guys, very happy with how that turned out. So it's awesome. And there's some other little projects I got going on. I just did working on a new body for my Slash, and I got some new tires and wheels to put on it. I have not done anything with my Slash since I first got it, so that's going to be nice. Anyway, guys, y'all have a nice evening, and stay cool. And Mr. Breeze, and we are out. Man, that's so awesome.